Alright, hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Late Night Tips. This is going to be a pretty controversial video because I can already see those comments, people saying, learn how to program your synth, you don't know how to program your synth, and so on and so forth. And of course it might be true, but still, despite all my programming efforts with the Analog Rytm, I couldn't get it to punch nearly hard enough and cut through the mix with all the other instruments that I have in the studio. So in today's episode we're going to look at how to add some punch to the Analog Rytm. Let's get right into it. In my setup, the Analog Rytm is going straight into my audio interface, which is Focusrite Scarlett 18N8. And I found out that it usually has slightly lower level than the rest of my instruments, and it actually sounds best when it's clipping. That's what it sounds like. Pretty good. Now it's clipping. Feels much punchier to me when it is clipping, but unfortunately then it overdrives my entire signal chain. So I thought to myself there are two solutions to the problem. First, get a mixer with individual gain controls and overdrive the signal on the mixer a little bit, and then on the output lower it and it's going to sound pretty good. But unfortunately all my mixer inputs are currently occupied with something else, so I thought to myself maybe there's another solution, and of course there is. I got an overdrive pedal. What's cool about the LPB tube is that it has a frequency response of 20 Hz to 20 kHz, which is good for bass sounds and also for very high hi-hats. Okay, so let's see how this works out. So you can already hear that it's adding some definition to the sound and some oomph. And then when I manipulate the volume knob on the Analog Rytm, it's going to feed more overdrive into the system. And it's still not clipping, which is very nice. What I really like about this pedal that it also emphasizes the velocity. So let's hear this kick drum without the overdrive. So it reacts to velocity rather well, but now let's add some overdrive. Maybe we'll take down some of the overdrive and it's already adding some definition to the sound and to the velocity, and there's a lot of expressiveness added to the sound in my opinion. So now let's see what happens when we pair it with the onboard overdrive of the Analog Rytm. So first let's hear the overdrive without the Electro Harmonix. Pretty cool. It's actually a really good overdrive. And now let's add my Electro Harmonix to the mix. You can really go crazy with that combination. Let's see. This is obviously too harsh but a cool effect nonetheless. And now let's try and add a compressor. The compressor on the Analog Rytm is super tricky in my opinion. I still haven't found a way to use the compressor meaningfully, but when you add a little bit of that, it actually adds a lot of definition to your sound. So let's check it out. So I'm going to deactivate the overdrive and also clear the distortion page in here. Going to go to my compressor, adjust the threshold a little bit, attack maybe not so drastic, long release, ratio 1:8, how about that? This I actually deactivate, and now add some mix. It's pretty good. So let's add some compensation. So it tames it a little bit, but now let's try and do this and the overdrive. Okay, I like it. So you can clearly hear that without the Electro Harmonix, it's quieter, but it's clipping. When you activate the overdrive pedal, it compresses the sound, and it's louder, but it's not clipping. I'm actually really happy with where this is taking the sound of my Analog Rytm. And the beauty of the Rytm is that I can record this line into my interface without a problem, but then I can also send all the tracks via Overbridge directly to my computer and have completely dry tracks, and I can mix and match them any way I want in the final mix, which is amazing. Yeah, so that's it for this episode. I think it's really cool. Please let me know in the comments what are your favorite overdrive pedals to use with drum machines. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to catch more tutorials, more jams, and more opinions. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great night and take care.